Who do you look up to? A friend or family member? A political or religious figure? Or a character from a movie or mythology? We all admire someone. Who you admire tells you more about you than you might think. Maybe you're drawn to the heroes, the ones who rise up to save the day, like King Arthur, Odysseus, or Superman. Or perhaps you admire the caregivers, the compassionate encouragers like Obi-Wan Kenobi or Mary Poppins.
Hello there.
There's a reason you admire certain characters more than others. You're drawn to their archetype. An archetype, put simply, is a symbolic pattern. You'll find these patterns in stories, myths, and art dating back centuries. Archetypes in mythology are plentiful, and they provide some of the most ancient evidence of these patterns.
Ever wonder why archetypes in mythology of one country are repeated in others? For example, the Egyptians told stories of the god Osiris dying and being reborn, a pattern we can also find in the stories of the Greek god Adonis and Babylonian god Tammuz. The answer is that people around the world were drawn to archetypes. There are heroes, villains, orphans, and adventurers. Similar characters are woven throughout the tapestry of ancient mythology worldwide. Why? Because these mythological archetypes are ingrained into human consciousness. In other words, they're part of us, and we all have them in common. Psychologist Carl Jung believed that archetypes are encoded into the brains of all humans. Since he believed that understanding these patterns help us understand ourselves better, he organized archetypes into 12 tidy little categories. For example, explorer, sage, innocent, hero, outlaw, magician, jester, creator, caregiver, ruler, every person, and lover. Greek mythology holds excellent examples of these 12 archetypes, which we'll outline next.
Why Greek mythological archetypes? You might be thinking, it's all Greek to me. Well, Greek mythology actually does an incredible job of unraveling the mystery behind archetypes and making them easy to understand. Ancient Greece wasn't the first to come up with archetypes, but it did a pretty great job of coming up with some pretty memorable ones. So while I'm not saying that Greek mythological archetypes are earlier or better, they are certainly very memorable, and they're incredibly useful for outlining the Jungian archetypes. Take a look. Zeus is the ruler archetype. He's the big guy in the sky, the head honcho of all the gods. He loves being in authority, and that can sometimes lead to tyrannical actions. Hera is the caregiver. She's Zeus's wife and the goddess of family and childbirth. Her main goal is to protect and care for those she loves, which often leads her to jealousy. Poseidon is the outlaw. This Greek god of the sea is also known as the destroyer. He is hot-blooded and often acts violently towards others. Demeter, or however you pronounce that, is the innocent archetype. Sweet, innocent Demeter is the goddess of fertility and the harvest. She wishes to please others and has a nurturing nature. Aphrodite is the lover archetype. One part companion, one part seductress, Aphrodite embodies the archetype of the lover. She is the Greek goddess of love and beauty. Hermes is the jester archetype. The jester archetype is a mischievous, often humorous character. Hermes, the herald of the Greek gods, is quick on his winged feet, clever, and an excellent communicator. Dionysus is the magician archetype. There's a world of madness wrapped up in this god's magical personality. As the god of the grape harvest, he's all about, you guessed it, wine, transformations, and manipulation. Apollo represents the creator archetype. The creator archetype is one of artistry, creativity, and hard work. Apollo embodies all these things and more as the god of music, poetry, and medicine. Artemis is the explorer. Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, found fulfillment in seeking and exploring. Likewise, the explorer archetype yearns for endless journeys and to trod anywhere but the beaten path. Athena is the sage archetype. This daughter of Zeus constantly seeks to learn new things and share them with others. As the goddess of wisdom, she spends her time studying or exhibiting her military prowess alongside Greek war heroes. Hephaestus is the every person. Since his father Zeus rejected him, Hephaestus became an orphan. He is a god who is sometimes depicted as crippled and undervalued by others. He is the god of fire and blacksmiths. And finally, Aries is the hero archetype, and also the warrior archetype. Although you might not think of Aries, the Greek god of war, as a hero, he fits this archetype because he fights for what he wants no matter what. His goal is to succeed or die trying.
Now the question remains, why should we bother studying archetypes? Is there some good reason we should care about them? Here's the deal. We all see ourselves in archetypes. We identify with them, and we identify with some more than others. And when we figure out which ones we identify with more and why, we can actually open a good kind of Pandora's box that tells us more about ourselves. So next time you're reading classical Greek literature or watching the latest blockbuster, pay attention to the characters you're drawn to. And while you're at it, pay attention to your tears. Friedrich Buechner said, "Whenever you find tears in your eyes, especially unexpected tears, it is well to pay the closest attention. They are not only telling you something about the secret of who you are, but more often than not, God is speaking to you through them of the mystery of where you have come from and summoning you to where, if your soul is to be saved, you should go next." Buechner is speaking of an unexpected emotional reaction. You're immersed in a novel, or listening to a TED Talk, or helping out at your local soup kitchen when you're suddenly overcome by emotion. Someone or something has touched your heart, and that person or thing can unlock some secrets about who you are. Okay, maybe that sounds a bit like mumbo jumbo to you. Maybe you want to hear a practical explanation of how being in tune to the human patterns you're drawn to can actually help you in concrete ways. Don't worry, we've got you covered.
Let's talk about how archetypes help you unlock your secrets. 1, you'll be able to dig deep into your subconscious. You'll discover what's most important to you in life. 2, you can get a clue as to what actually fulfills you in life. For example, do you find yourself wanting to be like characters who would be categorized as explorers or adventurers? Maybe that's your subconscious nudging you to get your bum off the office chair and start traveling the world. 3, you can lead a more focused life. You know that Disney trope of the kid or princess who is coming of age and discovering what they want to do with their life or who they can become? Think Aladdin or Ariel, Mulan, or even Simba in The Lion King. That's a story archetype, but we can learn something valuable from it. The protagonist wastes some time pursuing things that other people want them to do, or things they think they want to do, but ultimately they focus on what they're meant to be. And there you have it, a happy ending. Number 4, you can become more minimalistic and bypass distractions. Minimalism isn't just about having less material stuff in your house. It's about focusing on what you really need and what fulfills you. And that includes your career and lifestyle. Paying attention to archetypes in mythology, books, and movies gives you a clue about which path your heart wants to take. That way, you can ignore all those supposed shortcuts and rabbit trails